Good morning. Today is our last lesson in our probability unit. We're going to talk about media statistics and probability, and then I've got a practice sheet for you. If you would like to follow along, you can print out the lesson note. Okay, so probability and statistics are presented through the media in lots of different ways. But first, just to quickly define, statistics is the collection and analysis of data. Okay? And they are collected from real life events and studies. Okay? So like probability, statistics help to predict results of future events. Okay, so some examples of where you might see statistics, different opinion polls, any census data. So if you remember from last unit what a census is, we see it in weather reports, gambling odds. Hopefully you don't see those yet. Sports reports. So both team data and player data. Right. Okay, so we see statistics everywhere. So let's see here our first example, our favorite music statistics. So a local radio station surveyed 200 students from one high school to determine their favorite type of music, and the results are shown in the table. So we've got rock, rap, and country, and this is the percentage of students that prefer that type of music. Okay, so let's express each percent as a decimal and as a fraction in lowest terms. So we'll start with, let's say, the rock one. Okay, so it is 45%. It's actually easiest to go to fraction first, right? So we put 45 over 100, right? That's what the percentage means. And then we can simplify this to lowest terms. So that's 9 over 20. And then you can toss that into a calculator or go back to the 45% up here and move the decimal. And you've got 0.45. Okay, so we've got a fraction in lowest terms and decimal. Okay, let's do the same thing for rap. It's 35%. So we write 35 over 100. Okay, and that can be reduced to 7 over 20. And we can write this as 0.35. Last, we've got country. Okay, so 20%. Put it as a fraction. Okay, it can be reduced to 1 over 5. And we can rewrite 20% as 0.20. Just move the decimal place. Okay? So now, if there are 4,000 high school students in the city, how many of them would you expect to like each type of music? So we'll go through each type separately. Okay, we'll start again with rock. So we want to figure out what 45% of 4,000 is, right? Because the radio company determined that 45% of students like rock music, and if we're looking at 4,000 students, we have to figure out what 45% of 4,000 is. To do that, you take your decimal and multiply it by the total number. Okay, and we get 1,800. Okay, we'll do that for all of them. So for rap, we need to figure out what 35% of 4,000 is. So we take our decimal, 0.35, multiply that by the total number. All right, and we get 1,400. Lastly, for country, we are doing 20% of 4,000. So your decimal of 0.20, multiplied that by 4,000, and we get 800. Another way you could do the last one, right, is if we've got 1,800 and 1,400, if you add those together and see what's left, right, it's all going to add up to 4,000. So you could have used that technique as well. Lastly, I think, for this example, or this page anyway, is it possible that the poll might not be accurate? What factors could have influenced the response? So, yes, for sure, it's possible that the poll's not accurate. Some influencing factors could be, it's a bit of a leading question, right? We talked about this a little bit last unit, where, I mean, were there only options, rock, rap, or country, right? As far as I'm sure, there are more types of music than that, right? So it's a bit of a leading question, right? It could have incurred some bias. Perhaps that's the type of music that's played on the station during the survey, so maybe students felt more influenced to answer in a certain way. Okay, so for sure it could not be accurate. Also, it had a small sample size, I believe, right? I think that it was 200 students, yeah. So the small sample size could have led to some inaccuracies. Okay, one more example. All students at a high school were surveyed about 2 sports. The results are shown in the graph. So if you look over here at our graph, we have sports survey. Do they like basketball or football? And then the frequency along the vertical axis. So they either like basketball, football, both, or neither. Okay? First question, we are going to express each one as a decimal. Okay, so we'll start with basketball. Okay, so 190 students liked basketball. Over, to figure out the total, we are going to add up 190 plus 350 plus 565 plus 100. Okay, and when you do that, you get 1,195. Okay, that's our total number of students. So we need a decimal here, right? So we get 0.16. All right, let's do football. Okay, it says that 340 students like football out of 1,195. So we're going to express that as a decimal. We get 0.28. Then we need both. Okay, so students that liked both, there were 565 over your total number of students, 1,195, expressed as a decimal, 0.47. Okay, lastly, how many students like neither? We have 100 over 1,195, and we get 0.08. Okay, what's the probability that a student chosen at random likes basketball but not football? Okay, so we're going to figure out the probability that they like basketball. Okay, so the number of successful outcomes, how many people just like basketball, is 190 over the total number of possibilities is 1195. Right, so this is the same thing as up here, but let's put it as a percentage this time. So let's say 16%. So the probability that a student chosen at random likes basketball and not football is 16%. What is the probability that a student chosen at random likes either basketball or football but not both? Okay, so the probability of basketball or football. So we take how many like basketball, 190, plus how many like football, 340, right? So both of those are considered successes, right? So we add together our successful outcomes over our total, 1195, and we get 530 over 1195, which is 0.44 or 44%. There is a 44% chance that a student chosen at random likes either basketball or football, but not both. Okay? Then let's say, what is the probability that a student chosen at random likes basketball or football or both? Okay, so the probability that they like basketball, football, or both. We're going to do the same thing here, except add on the number of people that like both. So we're going to have 190 plus 340 plus that group that liked both. I'm not going to scroll up. There was 565 of them over the total 1195. So you get 1095 over 1195. So that is 92%. There's a 92% chance that a student chosen at random likes basketball or football or both. Okay, so you've got some practice questions for today. The solutions are, again, on the second page of the document that I've posted. So try the questions first, check your answers, and let me know if you have any questions.